The DOJ has indicted former National Security Advisor and Trump 1.0, John Bolton. This is concerning for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is a textbook authoritarian play that Trump is sending to everyone in his existing cabinet. You go along, you don't act out, you stay loyal to me, or I will indict you. That's first and foremost. Number two, he's priming the public because on his wish list is sitting Senator Adam Schiff. And that's when it's really going to get chaotic. And that is the next step. So they did Comey. They did these people that are not in office right now. Obviously, Letitia James, he has a big bee in his bonnet over her because she took him to court and won and accused that he and proved that he is a complete fraud, lies, cooks the books, and he can't stand her for that. Plus, she's a Black woman. But this John Bolton thing, it just kind of blips a little bit on the screen because they're starting to normalize this. They're starting to normalize these authoritarian plays. So we all need to keep an eye on this because Adam Schiff will be next. Moving along, we have coming out of the White House, devout Christian, Karoline Leavitt, who was so worried about the rhetoric on the left. The same political party lost their minds for a decade when Hillary Clinton called them a basket of deplorables. When Joe Biden said they were trash, they all wore trash bags because they're a cult. Here's a video yesterday on the White House grounds of devout Christian Karoline Leavitt acting Christ-like while lying through her teeth. Listen to this.
That the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world. And that's
okay. Law-abiding Americans, your boss is a convicted felon. Your boss commits crimes every day in office. And the way she sat there and said that was so psychopathic. Hamas terrorists, convicted felons, and illegal immigrants. And she says it with a smile. The psychopathy of the people in this administration is something to study because everybody that comes into this man's orbit gets progressively worse each day. And to call half of the country Hamas terrorists, illegal immigrants, and violent criminals, I think these guys are getting, the hubris is taking over, and they just think they're going to keep pushing this because Saturday is going to be what I think is going to be the largest protest in American history, the No Kings rallies, and they're going to be all over the United States. So the propaganda machine has started that this is a hate America rally. Meanwhile, nobody shit talks America more than the Trump administration. What Karoline Leavitt just did was a hate America statement. The fact that she's doing this on White House grounds is even in any other presidency, she would have to resign. But in this presidency, she will be applauded. She will be adored. And the problem with this is there are a lot of people that are getting skipped over in the American economy. And they hear this and they think, oh, I can't have nice things because of Democrats. I can't have nice things because of these illegal immigrants. And the reason you can't have nice things and the reason your wages never go up is because Karoline Leavitt, Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance will pretzel themselves to curry favor with billionaires. All right, moving along, we all need to remember who controls Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and of course, Vladimir Putin. So for the last couple of weeks, there was some cooperation with the United States and Ukraine. And the United States was going to send Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. And here we have Kanks in the Oval reminding us that his number one boss and the number one ass that he kisses is that of Vladimir Putin's. Play the clip.
That ended was I ended 8 of them. And it's going to be 9. I think we're going to have this one done hopefully soon. But I'll be meeting him probably over the next 2 weeks. First, Marco is going to be meeting. And the vice president, as you know, is very much involved. The whole team is involved. Steve Witkoff will be involved. Yeah, please.
What did you tell them about the Tomahawks? Did you discuss the Tomahawk missiles?
didn't say much, but I do say to you, we need tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, we can't deplete for our country. So, they're very vital. They're very powerful. They're very accurate. They're very good, but we need them, too. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Well, look at that. We were going to send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Vladimir Putin immediately calls Trump, and now Trump has flipped on a dime and says, we need our Tomahawk missiles. Rest assured that when we are completely losing our minds at how industry titans, universities, Supreme Court justices, the sitting Republican Party bend the knee to this dementia-ridden, frail, incompetent buffoon, that there's somebody else who wields a big stick with him, and it is Vladimir Putin. And it is breathtaking that the United States of America continually bends the knee to a very weak Russia. Ukraine has fought this war. They are fighting for the entire Western portion of Europe to keep democracy in place, because Vladimir Putin will not stop at Kyiv. He will go right into Poland, and Trump is an integral part of this. So all of this civil war talk and all of this talk that Karoline Leavitt is saying, Democrats are Hamas, Democrats are terrorists, all of this stuff is linked because Vladimir Putin over a decade ago decided he wanted to stir up tensions among Americans. And look at where we are right now. Look at how successful that investment has been for him. And then, Donald Trump, he wants so desperately to win the Nobel Peace Prize next year. Moses Mike Johnson is already saying, yeah, we're getting a group of people together. We're going to nominate him next year. This is going to be the big thing that we're going to do. Put this up. Donald Trump lied social yesterday. If Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So the ceasefire doesn't look like it's doing very well. And he's talking about sending American troops into Gaza. And I thought the moment this ceasefire conversation came out, like a week before the Nobel Peace Prize, I thought, oh, they're doing this because he wants to win that Peace Prize because he can't stand it that Obama won one and he hasn't won one. And so this is the absolute hypocrisy and insanity of this administration. On the one hand, all of these ass kisser Republican MAGA Christians like Moses Mike Johnson, who talks about the Lord all the time, talks about Jesus all the time. Yet he supports this guy who is a homicidal maniac, truly. I mean, a complete nut, demented, talking about all these imaginary wars that he solved. And then Caitlin Collins has reported the following. President Trump says he discussed the possibility of providing tomahawks to Ukraine with President Putin. He says he asked Putin, would you mind if I gave a couple thousand tomahawks to your opposition? Trump adds that Putin didn't like the idea. And keep this up for a second, Kylie. Trump asked Putin, would you mind if I gave a couple thousand tomahawks to your opposition? Number one, that's a stupid question. Like Vladimir Putin's going to be like, oh yeah, but why is he calling Putin asking if it's okay? And then it takes you back to how compromised Donald Trump is by Vladimir Putin. It takes you back to something that just has skimmed through the news cycle, that he had American troops on their hands and knees rolling out red carpet for Vladimir Putin, who does not have any interest in the United States being successful. And so it's like Vladimir Putin has a shock collar on Trump. And every time Trump acts out, he just jolts him and jolts him and jolts him. And he does accordingly. He acts like a good boy. He acts like a good dog, because at the end of the day, these forces that used to be our adversaries, Trump is aligning with. And then next up, I thought this was a pretty interesting move. We have Seth Moulton, who's running for Senate in the state of Massachusetts. Now he's running for a seat that is occupied by a very progressive, great Senator Ed Markey. Problem is, Ed Markey is 79 years old. And we have this problem with a lot of politicians. You probably saw the video of Mitch McConnell falling down yesterday. You've seen Joe Biden in the later stages of his presidency. You see Donald Trump right now, old as shit, dementia, frail, what happened with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And sometimes these politicians have a hard time stepping down. So Seth Moulton is turning out to be a really good candidate. And this tells me he understands the base. He says, I am returning AIPAC donations and refusing to accept any donations or support from them. The FCC filing I made yesterday reflects that we are returning donations. I thought that was wild. I thought, they are actually listening. They are listening to the base, because as we have been preaching on this podcast, if the Democrats do not address this, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson already are. That void and that vacuum is there, and it needs to be filled. And I want to say to any Jewish listeners that we have, the best way to support Israel is to not support AIPAC. AIPAC has zero interest in anything to do with America other than getting American taxpayer monies to fund bombs and security for Israel. And at some point, we have to start taking care of Americans. And the only option over there is a two-state solution, period. An ethno-state is not going to be sustainable, and American taxpayer money should not keep fulfilling this nightmare fool's errand that only results in people dying, complete hospitals eliminated, universities eliminated, the genocide that we have all seen. And lastly, Kylie brought this to my attention. Ted Cruz tweeted about me yesterday. Put this up. So I was on MSNBC, Chris Hayes, and we were talking about J.D. Vance not defending, J.D. Vance defending all of the young Republicans that were speaking out in a racist, horrific, terrible way, gas chambers, N-word, homophobia, And the Vice President of the United States had an opportunity to step in and condemn it. And I pointed out on Chris Hayes' show that the Vice President has a wife of Indian descent and children that are mixed race, and that if he can't even stand up for them, how can he stand up for MAGA? Ted Cruz saw this clip. Unfuckable, unlikable. The Republicans hate Ted Cruz. And he writes, this is disgusting. Leave his kids alone, which I think is super rich, coming from Ted Cruz, who couldn't defend his own wife, who couldn't defend the mother of his children. So these guys can throw out all of this stuff all the time. They just bash. They're calling Democrats Hamas. They're calling Democrats terrorists. They're saying Democrats hate America. In the minute somebody truth bombs back at them, it's stage 5 meltdown, because Hillary Clinton was right. They are a basket of deplorables. Their only loyalty is to a frail, demented, old man. And everything is going to remain. Ted Cruz supporting a man who called his wife ugly and said that his dad assassinated JFK. He steps in any chance he can get to defend these bottom feeder flea bags. These men are absolutely Zeta males. They are hysterical. Anytime anybody calls them out, they can't stomach it. All right. I'll be right back with Pumps later with more news. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you later.